President Cyril Ramaphosa has warned extortionists to brace themselves for war. Ramaphosa says the terrorization of communities and businesses by criminals will not be tolerated. He was speaking at the signing of an agreement between the police and the Western Cape to combat crime through a collaboration with community policing forums. Nasipi Same is in Belhar and she joins me now. Quite an elaborate ceremony it was, Nasipi. Of course, the question is whether it is indeed going to work, and everyone who signed on the dotted line will deliver on their part of the deal.
It seems to be that government of national unity is in play. Various government spheres, local, provincial and national, coming together to ensure that residents of the city of Cape Town are indeed safe. The president touching on a number of issues there, gender-based violence, gang violence, extortion, including drug-related crimes, also indicating that of the overall statistics from the Western Cape, which paint a very grim picture, 80% of those crime stats, or rather cases related to crime, are originally from the city of Cape Town. But one of the people that has been talking and lobbying for a number of years is Mr. J.P. Smith from the city of Cape Town, calling on national government to collaborate. We're finally seeing that come into action now. But do you think that it will work for the residents of the city of Cape Town?
It had better. So we've set ourselves a 3-week goal to finish the implementation agreement. That's the nuts and bolts about how we bring communication systems together, technology systems together, command and control structures, how we work together to share intelligence and crime information. This is critical if we're going to make progress. There are things that the city can substantially add value to for SAPS, and reciprocally there are things that we need. On grassroots, we've worked together for a long time. It is some of those sticking points around mandates and other stuff that we need to navigate, and the political commitments made here today entailed in that agreement gives us the momentum to get that going. So that's really good. The fact that the state president and the premier are both here tells you that this is being taken seriously by everybody. They will be watching that this agreement delivers fruit. We were joking and saying the meeting with Minister Mkhunu, myself, the mayor and MEC Mare was the Lobola negotiations. Tuesday's stakeholder engagement was the engagement ring. Today is the wedding ring. But the children of this marriage will be the nuts and bolts of how we work together and how we take the fight to the extortion and gang syndicates that hold many of our communities hostage and make life very miserable for our residents.
We heard from the minister earlier this morning when he released the crime stats of the previous financial year and also, the first quarter of this financial year, touching on the fact that 11 of the stations in the top 20 are from the city of Cape Town. How will we see this agreement playing out for somebody sitting at home not understanding this marriage between the three spheres of government?
There are things like gang violence that contribute disproportionately to our murder rate in Cape Town. This is a problem that is noticeably distinct to our city, has long plagued us for many decades, and anywhere between 25% and 40% of our murders per year emanate from this problem. We are not going to move the dial on this crisis if we cannot add convictions, if we cannot up the conviction rate for gang-related murders. The President said we must start adding convictions to arrest. I fully agree, something we've been saying for a long time. And the city can bring muscle to that equation. We have collected a significant group of investigators. We've collected significant crime intelligence resources. We can add value to those functions within SAPS that are severely under-resourced. It is going to be about acceptance from the other side. We had good collaboration around kidnapping for ransom. We've started to get effective cooperation on extortion. There are other areas we must still move into and where we must learn to trust each other and work together. And hopefully this makes that possible.
JP, the issue of legislation now, it still stands. There's a number of limitations when it comes to the city, province working with SAPS. Is this going to be the second phase of this marriage?
So we have spontaneously over time gotten some breakthroughs on some areas. The kidnapping and extortion arenas, while extortion has taken a lot longer to start collaborating on than kidnapping did, it is happening. There are things that can immediately be done to make not just the City of Cape Town's municipal law enforcement, metro police and traffic officials substantially more effective in their roles, but will service the entire South Africa. We will break ice for the whole of South Africa. And those agreements are, or that specific thing, is the peace officer powers. In 2018, we took a giant step forward, a step that in fact enabled LEAP, our law enforcement advancement program, that has helped dial back the crime stats in the 13 most crime-affected communities in the city. And that was the expansion of those municipal peace officer powers. We didn't get all the powers we asked for. There is a further application we have made to the National Minister to expand those powers. We are now, through Ian Cameron as the provincial portfolio, as the national portfolio chair, and in correspondence from the Mayor's office, again beseeching the National Minister of Justice to take that further, to expand those powers for the remaining bits that we're missing. It remains to be seen how this plays out now.
The cooperation between the three spheres of government, in particular the City of Cape Town and SAPS, the Minister saying that the sharing of intel or technology is not only limited to CCTV cameras. We know the city has Eye in the Sky, Shot Spotter. How is that going to now work when it comes to sharing of technology and intel?
So the city has done everything it can to keep itself abreast with technological advancements in policing. If you want to run a modern police service, there are some things that are at least a minimum requirement. Things like computer-aided dispatch. SAPS has unfortunately been left far behind on the modernization front. Something that was integrated in the National Development Plan, which in fact the logo of which appears on this agenda today. Sadly, much of SAPS technology has been left behind a decade or more. And so they've missed out on modernizations that are critical for managing a modern police service. We may be able to introduce SAPS and expedite their access and acquisition of this more rapidly. It is something that we will be putting to the test and offering SAPS. Senior management cannot be expected to run a police service of hundreds of thousands of staff without effective computer-aided dispatch, integrated spatially enabled response management, and this we may be able to fast-track their development in.
With fast-tracking this and this agreement now, JP, will we be seeing funds being pulled from safety and security and possibly SAPS to ensure that this cooperation runs smoothly?
So the agreement says that we each retain our individual procurement processes. This agreement cannot trump legislation. It cannot set provisions of national legislation around procurement and budgets and financing aside. We are still bound by the Municipal Finance Management Act. So that will still bind us and will still act in terms of that act. But where we've agreed to collaborate and where we've perhaps agreed to take on an additional function, we will do so. We are very sincere about this agreement. We didn't spend all this time clamoring for it, not to honor it. And whilst the SAPS have already had our full commitment, I think it will now enable us to do just that bit more to make meaningful progress on some of the more problematic and pernicious crime problems that communities have experienced.
And quickly for us, do you think that the plan that you have as the three spheres of government will be a blueprint for other provinces, as we heard from the Minister, for provinces and some of the metros that are also contributing highly to crime in South Africa?
Absolutely. We were able to move very quickly to finalize this agreement because we started on it 3 years ago. So the work we've done is now rapidly translated into this. Same with the implementation protocol. That will hopefully help other provinces and cities get there much more rapidly so we can get cracking.
We'll have to leave it there. JP Smith there, Safety and Security MACO member in the City of Cape Town, giving us a breakdown perhaps on the agreement that was signed today, but the various spheres of government, saying that it has been a long time coming, and it does seem that the Government of National Unity has indeed played as a catalyst in ensuring that this day, as the President put it, a auspicious occasion in ensuring that the residents of the City of Cape Town and hopefully other metros and provinces that are contributing highly to crime will indeed also be benefiting from the plan that will be rolled out in the City of Cape Town. Now, JP says it's about 3 weeks where they have to put everything together. He calls it the nuts and bolts in ensuring that this plan is foolproof.
Nasipi Same in Cape Town, following, of course, the signing of that agreement by a whole host of interested parties in that part of the country.